This campaign video describes what he sees as his accomplishments and what he says the nation is still facing.
Around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those bedrock freedoms, cutting Social Security that you paid for your entire life while cutting taxes for the very wealthy.
Hey, time for another Rick Take. Biden. What fucking accomplishments? He doesn't have any, does he? Because I don't think he does. Let's jump into this op-ed from Michael Cohen. Michael Cohen, an MSNBC columnist. Why Biden is staying quiet about his biggest accomplishments. Let's see if he lists any. Joe Biden is running for re-election, and based on his announcement video released this week, he plans to make 2024 election a referendum not on his first term, but rather on Donald Trump's. So we're already not listing his accomplishments, we're criticizing the president who came before him. I see where this is going. For all Biden's accomplishments in his first term, it's clear that what motivates Democratic voters most is not a litany of policy achievements, but rather the specter of what might happen if the other guy wins. The same dynamic is largely true of Republicans. We are living in an era of extreme polarization in which fear, not hope, is the greater driver of electoral outcomes. Considering Biden's low approval numbers and the mood of the country, which can perhaps best be described as agitated, the president's chosen strategy isn't necessarily surprising. Biden wouldn't be the first president to make his re-election more about his opponent than about him. In perhaps the best-known example, unpopular incumbent, Harry Truman won election to a full term in 1948 by running against the do-nothing Republican Congress. More recently, in 2004, George W. Bush, with approval ratings hovering just around 50%, made his re-election bid a referendum on John Kerry and won, albeit by the narrowest winning electoral college margin for an incumbent in 88 years. The strategy has failed as well, as seen with Jimmy Carter in 1980 and George H.W. Bush in 1992. But Biden has an advantage that neither of those one-termers had. He's most likely running against a former president who is deeply unpopular, particularly among independents. Unlike other incumbents, Biden doesn't have to define his most likely opponent. If Trump is the GOP nominee, Biden will be the first president to have run against a former president since 1912. See also William Howard Taft versus Teddy Roosevelt and Woodrow Wilson. God, it's early. I need more coffee. As a result, there are few Americans who don't already have distinct and largely unalterable opinions about the former president. There's a reason, after all, that historians are likely to refer to this period as the era of Trump, not the era of Biden. This ahistorical dynamic is obvious in Biden's announcement video. It starts off with images of January 6th, then pivots to a protester holding up a sign that reads, "Abortion is healthcare," all underpinned by spooky, discordant music. Biden's first spoken word is freedom. The theme of the next 3 minutes is that liberty is under assault from MAGA extremists, and only Joe Biden can protect it. If this sounds familiar, it repeats Biden's explanation for why he ran in 2020, to restore the soul of America. Last election, Biden ran as the antithesis to Trump, the candidate of normalcy over drama. He's running for re-election in largely the same way. Now, I just have to point out, where the fuck is this list of accomplishments? I don't see it yet. While Biden's strategy isn't surprising, what makes it unusual is that he has a positive record to run on. A major infrastructure bill, hundreds of billions of dollars in climate spending, and building an international coalition to challenge Russia's invasion of Ukraine are just a start. I don't see how that's a fucking accomplishment, but let's continue on. Amazingly, Biden's most notable accomplishment, the rollout of COVID vaccines for millions of people, the decline in COVID death rates and an end to mask mandates and social distancing, goes completely unmentioned in the video. One might expect the successful national reemergence from a pandemic would feature prominently in a president's re-election campaign, and yet Biden seemingly has no interest in running on it. In fact, there are more references to his Supreme Court nominee, Ketanji Brown Jackson, than COVID, which, considering the prominent role of black women in the Democratic coalition, shouldn't come as much of a surprise either. So, his list of accomplishments, let me just run this down here, is an infrastructure bill, and then billions of dollars for climate spending and sending money to Ukraine. And they want to give this guy credit for a Supreme Court nominee, even though she just ticked off a whole bunch of boxes. Can't tell you what a woman is because she's not a biologist. But hey, it's a list of accomplishments, right? All right. While I'm not privy to the president's internal campaign polling, I imagine the explanation is rather straightforward. In our movement of extreme political polarization, hostility towards one's political rivals, negative partisanship, is a key driver of our national politics, according to a Pew Research Center poll in August. 72% of Republicans regard Democrats as more immoral, and 63% of Democrats say the same about Republicans. In 2016, the numbers were 47 and 35. There's been a similar dynamic in the share of voters who view members of the other party as dishonest, less intelligent, and more close-minded. Furthermore, what has pushed Democratic voters to the polls in the past 3 election cycles is fear of Donald Trump, and there's little doubt that it has been a successful strategy. In 2018, Democrats picked up 40 seats in the House. In 2020, they won back the White House and the Senate. And in 2022, they dramatically overperformed many expectations, even picking up seats in the Senate. Yeah, but look who your Senate seats went to. One of which is a borderline fucking vegetable who can't read anything unless, of course, it's coming from a closed caption device. So it's not like he's worthless. Anyways, it's small wonder that Biden is trying to replicate it for his re-election bid. For Democrats, Trump is the political gift that keeps on giving. Even if somehow he loses the Republican nomination, the playbook wouldn't be likely to change much. Whether the nominee is Trump, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, or someone else, fear of the MAGA movement, the GOP's continued opposition to gun control measures, and its assault on democracy, voting rights, reproductive rights, and civil rights will continue to bring Democrats to the poll. Gonna take a pause here. This isn't a Rick take, but I'm wording it as one. We don't live in a democracy. We live in a constitutional republic. Why can't any of you fuckers get that straight on the left side? What is so hard to grasp? Read the actual documentation that founded this fucking country. Please and thank you. Now, with that little sidebar, I'm going to finish this stupid fucking article, op-ed here. It's hardly an ideal outcome for the country. And it runs counter to the historically aspirational element of American politics. But at a time when polarization is so great and the risks to American democracy from Trump couldn't be clearer, it might be a while until appeals... Jeez, who wrote this fucking thing? It might be a while until appeals to the better angle of our nature is the dominant message on the presidential campaign trail. Biden's strategy might increase the nation's divides, but then consider the alternative. We will consider the alternative. The alternative is this nation keeps backsliding into oblivion and the rest of the fucking free world moves on without skipping a beat. This isn't the list of accomplishments. This is fanfaring and just, God. Michael A. Cohen. Do I want to say you can do better? Yeah, you probably could do better, but the problem is you're not, and you never will. You're just a simp for this progressive bullshit. That's my Rick take for the day. If you liked what you saw, subscribe to my channel, click the like button on the video, and click the bell. Let yourself be notified if you want. Otherwise, if you didn't like it, hate share it, hate watch it, hate subscribe, give it a thumbs down. Don't care. I do this for the fun of it. And it's going to be a wild fucking ride for the next 18 plus months. With that said, peace out. And now for a shameless plug.
An American history lesson. You don't know nothing about Lady Liberty. Standing there in a harbor with a torch on high, screaming out to all the nations in the world, send me your poor, your deadbeats, your filthy. And all the nations sent them in. Falling in like ants. Your Spanish PRs, your Caribou in there. Your Jats, your Chinamen, your Krauts and your Hebes, and your legal stags. All of them come in here in their own separate sections. Where they feel safe, and they bust your head if you go in there. That's what makes America great, buddy.